Hello, I'm Michonne Neal, the creator of Cuil Fiction, and um, I have some wonderful news to share with you. And basically, I want to see is there actual support, for this out there. Um, so, if you know me, you know I'm kind of on the margins of like everything. I seem to be a living contradiction in some ways, and it's hard for people to understand how somebody like me actually exists and how I exist and am not just like screaming my head off every single moment of every single day, which has an interesting answer. But to find that out, um, will take little bit of help from you. Um, you see, there is this convention that was created called ClexaCon, CLEXA, and it was literally created because a bunch of people, basically everyone who was not accurately or even dynamically represented in any kind of media, kind of got a little fed up, and they're like, okay, you know what, we're tired of being killed off all the time, we're tired of not getting happy endings, or we're tired of being these flat, static, foils. So they came together and created this convention to celebrate all of that. So if you like things like Farscape or Lost Girl, or or Doctor Who, some of the later, well, it's a bit iffy, but and if you like, Steven Universe or all of that, this is about creating and celebrating and creating community around all of that, and around the people we normally don't get to see depicted very well in media. Um, and if you know me, then you know that for almost 20 years I have been working and writing and developing this genre called Cuil fiction. Um, and if you're not quite, sure what that is or what that's about, well, I'll share this wonderful description that that one of the founders of Cuil Press actually wrote to come up with it, and it's the most perfect summation I've seen. Because if you know me, I tend to be a little, I can get a little esoteric or abstract in my description of things. I'm very, I guess sometimes it may come across inaccessible. So I'm just going to read this bit to you, and it's the description that I want to continue going forward. Obviously, there's more to it, and there's a lot involved with it. But let me go over this part first, and then we'll go from there. So Cuil fiction, it's a genre that makes room for all kinds of suppressed and oppressed stories to burst forth and take form. There's room for the trauma of oppression to air out and be properly addressed. But this is also a genre for those who dare to dream of futures, parallel universes, other, better, safer, weirder, more openly dangerous worlds, near and far, where characters get to have agency and be fully themselves, come what may. It's a genre where we can break not only the fourth wall, but the fourth dimension, and still turn to mush thinking about a crush or a squish if you're aromantic, and spend time talking about what's for dinner back on your home planet. Expect disabled romance and kinky aro love stories, and of course the power of friendship and queer platonic partnership. Expect black girls who get to be princesses, and their suitors of all genders to treat them right. Expect parents who teach consent and leaders who apologize, but expect no apologism. Expect justice to be fought for and eventually served. Expect the chance to heal. Take what you've come to expect and shake it right out of your head. Expect to be delighted. Expect the unexpected. And that is Cuil fiction. And that's the amazing thing. Because I think a lot of times it's like people expect that we want things to be, perfect, or nothing to go wrong, or, no bad things to happen or anything. And that's great, and if you can, imagine that and write that and create it, great. I've written before, like, heaven is not like, the idea of heaven, or perfection. It's not really what most people would assume that it is. It's not so much. There you go. They think it would be boring, or that there would be no conflict, or whatever, that there would be nothing to it, and that's not true. um it's much closer to simply people being, it's transparency, um and that, that quality behind, life, the life force, or whatever you want to call it. Just this, it's about the attitude, or the spirit that goes into it. um so, even though people in the cuilverse, they deal with some pretty heavy situations. They get in trouble, they get hurt. They are traumatized, and at times it's very raw, and um, and painful. But the thing is, that dynamic part of it is that they're not flat. They change and they grow and they struggle. Um, and they're not perfect. A lot of them have, some isms that they deal with. Some of them, don't really, they understand about how they're different, but they might not understand, about somebody else's aspect, of being. They mess up. They might not get the racial aspect or the sexuality aspect or whatever. And sometimes, even if they themselves do, are marginalized, um, they still mess up, and that's real, because that's what happens in real life. But the thing is that they are corrected, by others. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes lifetimes. Um, you know, and sometimes in later lifetimes they actually are a little more rough around the edges than they were in prior lifetimes. But the point is that it's not static, and it's not this flat caricature that you get in the media a lot of the time. And we keep hearing, oh, people don't want to see basically anybody but it's a straight white man. And yet we get these stories, these cult classics and things like that, or we get all of these films, even big huge blockbusters, with these people who are non-normative, with these people who are black, or who are women, or who are hopefully black women, and people who are truly underrepresented, and they do great. We keep hearing that people want more of this. um and it's really strange that in everything that's created, in all of these fantastical worlds, with all of these new technologies and amazing inventions, that people would really just want to see a straight white dude go through it all. Or the other thing is, when there are other people or other creatures depicted, they're not really fully fleshed out. They're kind of just there to move the plot along, or whatever. And it's a shame, because if we really want to know, stories are really thought experiments, or to explore pieces of the world and everything like that, then we have to have genuine responses, right? Or at least more genuine responses. And we want a whole host of them. And if we're all gonna, if we're gonna be all scientific about it, then you want to have these all these discrete categories, right? And all these variables. Um, you want to see reactions from as many different kinds of people as you can. How would this kind of person respond to this? How would disabled people, get around in space? What does accessibility look like? Um, what about a world in which neurodivergence is actually, the world is built around that, but it's accounted for. What about worlds where these, because we exist, and we're here, and we work, and we create really novel ways of getting through things. And it's so interesting to me that the people who most are talking about they want to meet aliens, or or they want to imagine different worlds, or they want to build all these new things, think that the kind of people that are there, or they're the people that exist now, aren't worth their time, or they can't deal with them. Like, you really think you're going to be okay with meeting an alien? You really think this alien would like you in particular? And you can't even treat these people right? Like, these people exist. If you want to know how aliens would respond to humans, well, go and find the strangest, strange to you humans, and because that's gonna be what they're, um, what they're like more often than not, because it's going to be something that's very different from what you're used to. And if the only thing that you're being exposed to is this limited, this really limited idea, we're not going to do very well. you know um Other than that, it's just literally we all exist here, and to tell us that we don't deserve our own stories, or that nobody wants to see it, that's a pretty messed up message. And that's why I created this genre, because I'm like, there's literally nobody like me in media. The closest person that I found that that shares a lot of aspects with me is Lilith, as in Adam's first wife, who basically became the mother of all demons. And if that's the only narrative that you find out there about yourself, that's pretty you know so if we're going to be human, and if it's really all about love and understanding, then our stories have to be told, and they have to be told in a genuine way. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to all be beautiful, but it has to be real. Because the stories we read, the media we take in, the TV we watch, and everything, it affects the way we see things. And if your only exposure to people like me is this ugly version of it, or this really distorted version of it, then obviously you're not gonna treat me very well, are you? You're not gonna understand why what I'm talking about when I say that my life is in danger and things like that. Or you're gonna it's not gonna go very well. But these stories, people are still creating this anyways. Like, we've been creating it, it's just a matter of getting us all together and doing it. So that's what this convention is is aiming to do. At least I hope so. I mean, I'm still idealistic. I don't know why. I mean, there was the whole blurred con thing, and somehow Black nerd could apply to everyone. I don't know. It was very strange. But the cuilverse and cuil fiction is something that I will not compromise for the supposed mainstream. We've all had quite enough of the mainstream. I think it's time to focus on on the margins. So yeah, so I applied to do a workshop there on how to write Cuil. To let people know that that there are people out here who want these stories and who are telling these stories, and there are people with the lived experience to actually make it rich and vibrant, and to depict it in really wholesome or not so wholesome ways, but it's kind of by us for us, you know or at least done with enough awareness of of the populations and aspects that you're writing about to do it justice. So that's what ClexaCon seems to be, to have been created for, and what it seems to be aiming for. But of course, since I only recently found it, the scholarship period is closed. So it's in Vegas. And obviously I'm going to do all I can with my limited means to get there myself. But the truth is, and if you're impoverished, then you understand this. you will never have enough to do all the things that you need to do, let alone what you want to do. So, obviously, I'm going to do my damnedest to be there, because this is something that could, bring so many new people together. I could talk about Cuil fiction. I could meet with other like-minded people, and I could find other, authors and creators who will have at least one publisher that knows what they've been through, appreciates it, respects their authority from experience on the matter, and and actually wants to share it with, with the world. So, it's a pretty exciting. But of course, like I said, this culture and convention culture is, it tends to be set up for the more financially privileged. And obviously, with the way things are in this country, if you're disabled and queer and trans and impoverished, and a parent, and black, maybe I said that already, but hey, it's not exactly safe to just go traipsing off around this country in a lot of ways. But it's something I'm willing to do. I haven't been safe out there in the world, but this is something that I am willing to go out for. This is something that is that important to me, that I'm going to, struggle with, my anxiety and the flares that will come from doing the travel, and all of that, because this needs, this is something that needs to happen. It needs to, and this is an opportunity that I want to use to do this. Obviously, I'll still be writing and, and doing what I can in other ways. But conventions tend to be, it's a lot of people coming together. So, I'd prefer to do it that way. I've done things the hard way my entire life, and I would like for once to, to have those, that bit of safety net, or that bit of, just a little bit of actual genuine support in these endeavors. I want to go. I want to go. Partially because, like, some of my favorite actors and actresses will be there. Like Anna Silk and, and others from Lost Girl would be amazing, because that was when I saw that show, an openly bisexual and very, very sexual in general, and sensual woman, especially in a role like, it was amazing. Like, before that, it was maybe Jack Harkness, and oh my gosh, the devious bisexuals everywhere. But anyway, it was great to see that depicted, and so, so realistically. Like, you could tell that, that they cared about it, and they explored, just this wonderful aspects, off of it. And I loved that they actually centered friendship in that show. Like, it was, oh my God, it was so refreshing. Like, yes, she's, sexy and sexual, and she needs it to, she literally needs it to live, but she still really cares about, all of these people, and building this family and this friendship and this community. And, the queer community and the Black community, and especially all of those who have aspects of all of those marginalizations, understand how important community is. But if we're not actually building it, then it's, it's kind of all lip service. So, we want this media, we want to show, these empowered communities and things. So, hey, I need a community. It would be nice to have that for the first time in my life, to have, somewhere where I'm actually not turned away, and where I'm embraced, and where I don't have to, take on the burden of, literally and constantly creating space to exist. Like I said, that's exhausting. So, so if this is something you believe in, if you have found, anything valuable or meaningful, or that felt like home about the cuilverse, um, if you write stories that would be like just adored and loved by Cuil Press, if you care about the depictions of all types of people in the media, um, if you just want to really get a kick out of convention culture and everything like that, um, then help me get there. Um, I will provide the best links for you to do that with. But obviously I'll need to get there. I'll need somewhere to stay, and I'll need food and stuff. I need to live. So and don't just give me the bare minimum. I have had to, survive on the bare minimum, and even less than that. And I deserve better. We deserve better. Like we say, that's the thing. We say we deserve better in media. Okay, this is connected to that. Because better in media, better in real life. It's all part of the same thing. So, this is a workshop I'm really excited to do. And this is a convention I really want to go to. And my own means, I have quite a bit of willpower. But I can't get there on fairy wishes. Unfortunately, the Ace of Reason is not going to drop out of the sky and get me there. Even though I really, really hope it would. Because that would be awesome. Or better yet, they could just take me and we can go anywhere. But anyway, so, in this climate, in this, in this country, let's do better. There have been a lot of times when I've asked for help in these, especially these past 2 years. When I didn't even have a home. And a lot of people, there were a few people who actually got it and who helped sustain me. And if it wasn't for them, I was gonna die. I have already outlived my life expectancy several times over, especially if you consider that I'm not supposed to exist. But a lot of people just kind of want to do the bare minimum, and that's not okay. Like, if we really care, then care. If you can't give directly, somebody who can, and so go and do that. Go and get them, or or check up on me, or help in other ways with other goods and services. Like, there's always something you can do. Always, if you really, the people that get stuff done, they find a way. And people who just don't, they find excuses. So, find a way and get me to this convention, because it's, so obviously, I've also asked them for, if there's anything they can do. I mean, I know it's, it's after the date and everything, but, gotten, when you when your life has been on the line as much as mine has, you kind of, you just ask. Whatever happens is going to happen. So we'll see. If the world is ready for Cuil fiction, then I will get there. And if not, then I'm just going to die like all the others. And people will come across it like 100 years later and be like, oh my gosh, this thing is so totally cool, you guys. Appreciate me while I'm alive, please. Please. If nothing else, I'm here now. And this is where it counts. And this is where the most effect is going to happen. I can't benefit from it if I'm dead, and they're going to misunderstand it and distort it anyways, So while I'm here, and and you want to help my work, this is the way to do it. So yeah. All right. Thank you for, for watching and listening. I know this is a bit long, but it's so important, so important. So get me there. All right. Yeah, I guess that's it. And I'll see you, or maybe not see you, but interact with you in other ways and other sites and all that stuff, and have, I'll be doing events, as well as as my conditions and all that allow. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, again, I'm Michonne Neal, and I was invited to teach how to write Cuil, to do that workshop at ClexaCon, and it's in April, so time is of the essence. Obviously, the sooner, the better. And I'll let you know about the minimum amount that I would need and everything like that. So yeah, let's do it. Okay.